embroidered jackets and coats, and they've really took off. And he doesn't have to have a logo on it. He doesn't have to have his name on it. You can just see his coats and you know immediately it's a Johnny Was. So that's an amazing way of identifying a brand, being able to see immediately that without having a big juicy across your backside, that company belongs to a certain logo. And so that contemplation for you as you begin this whole process is to think about how you are going to brand your company. Anyway, for you, beginning a logo, making sure you do a search, making sure nobody else out there has got anything like it. You can go online. There are places for you to start to search to make sure that the name and the logo that you choose is not already being taken. And again, we talked about making sure that you get your domain name at the same time. So once you've chosen the name, don't make it complicated. If people can't say the name, they're not going to remember it. Don't come up with some French name that nobody knows or pronounces it wrong constantly. So remember, thinking of names that are going to be easily understood and are going to be able to easy buzz, which is not always easy. But when you think of XOXO and all these other names, the Guess and the bigger names, the Nike, what does that mean? What does it come from? They have come up with names that eventually are becoming associated with a particular brand. So of course we've got well-known, the initials of Louis Vuitton that you see on bags, which is the ultimate for you as manufacturers to have people marching around advertising for you and people paying ridiculous amounts of money for goods that really aren't really worth that. And I'm not sure that there's one bag in here. But for you as a manufacturer, those are your target. You need to find those people who are brand driven. Now, are you all brand driven? How many of you in here are wearing a logo? I don't know. But for me, I've always thought I've avoided that because I think I'm who I am. I'm a designer. I want to advertise what I can design and what I can put together. I am certainly not going to walk around with somebody else's goods as a billboard and advertise for them. I want to be advertising for me. So you need to think about when you get out there, who it is, of course, that whole market niche and identifying who it is you're going to be targeting. As you begin that branding process, it's a constant struggle for you to keep on staying ahead of the counterfeiters and the copiers, making sure that you're reinventing constantly. That's why it's important for someone who comes up with a new idea, what happens next? You've got to keep doing new ideas. You've got to have that knowledge. I have one designer who started out and she was a stylist actually, and she came up with this idea for women's tops. So it was a junior top. She took Calvin Klein's underpants. She cut out the crotch but left the binding around the legs, pulled it on over the head. Okay, you're all designers. You can see this in your head. And the elastic was around here. So she had Calvin Klein here, and she had the Y here. And this was in the early 90s. She dyed them, she sold millions. She ended up getting her name under license in Japan, and her name of the company was called Wild Cherries. So I always remember her name's Kerry Vale. She's got her own company now, which is Kerry Vale. She changed it from juniors to contemporary because when you've done that, what can you come up with next? The next thing she came up was tubular socks. She cut the toe off, slashed it open, and she made little tops. But after that, I remember her calling me up and going, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So the junior market was so competitive because the price points are much lower. And of course, your markup was lower. So she went into a better price point, into a contemporary wear, and she became successful. But what launched her was that one thing that she sold so many of that the Japanese put her under license.